Should I do this? Everyone will start in about 2 minutes.
Shabbat Shalom to our YouTube followers on Sinai Temple YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. It's going to be shared on Sinai Temple Facebook through my own personal page as well. And we're going to be starting in just a few moments.
Sure. Okay, fine. Everyone will begin in about 1 minute. 1 minute. If you're following along in your Siddur, and we hope that you are, in a few moments we'll start our service on page 99. Page 99 with Elohai Neshama. Oh, okay. Okay. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to Cone Chapel. We want you to know, everyone who's watching out there, first of all, we feel your presence, and we're so happy that you decided to join us on Shabbat morning. We think it's very important for everyone to know that Rabbi Sherman and myself, we're the only people, besides our security who's protecting this building, we're the only people inside the building. We're the only people who are inside the chapel because we're practicing safe at home. We're married, we're family, so we can be together in this service. We wish we were with all of you, but please know that we're taking all the proper safety precautions as issued by our state and our nation. With that, we really want to spend a peaceful, joyous Shabbat with all of you. We are found on page 99, Elohai Neshama.
Neshama, Neshama, Shenatata bi, Shenatata bi, Tehorani, Tehorani, Yai, 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 Yai,
Please rise if you're able to for our morning blessings. We're found on page 103. Page 103.
Haruch Satan Elohim Melech Haolam Asher Halachimina Lachimina Melayla. Haruch Satan Elohim Melech Haolam Shesani B'Tzalmo. Haruch Satan Elohim Melech Haolam Shesani B'Chori. Haruch Satan Elohim Melech Haolam Shesani Yisrael. Haruch Satan Elohim Melech Haolam Bokei Achivri. Haruch Satan Elohim.
Dear God, We recognize that these morning blessings are provided for us to engage in Hakarat Hatov, the recognition of good and the recognition of great and the recognition of all the blessings that we have on a daily basis. So everyone take this moment and add your own blessing to the prayer. What is it that you're thankful for this morning? My eyes catch the words, "Dear God, thank you for strengthening the people of Israel with courage." God, thank you for strengthening each and every one of our souls with the courage to get up today, to pray together, and to determine how we can add value to this world. Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam atir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rov haaretz al hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechim mitzadei gaver. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa li kol tzorkim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam otei Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam anoten Yahweh Goah. Yai 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 yai.
We'll continue with the Mourner's Kaddish. We're found on page 121. We ask those who are in mourning or observing yahrzeit to remain standing and recite with me the words on that page. Page 121. Yit gadal ve'yit kadash shemei rabah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divra kerutei v'yamlif malchutei. V'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayedecho ve'Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru.
Amen.
Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'olam U'Le'olam. Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yithadar V'yitaleh V'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha Barichu Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechamata Da'amiran Be'alma V'imru. Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Osei Shalom Bimramav, Hu Ya'asei Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru. Amen. We remain standing for Baruch She'amar, page 122.
Baruch She'amar Ve'haya ha'olam. Baruch Oseh Bereshit. Baruch Omer Ve'yosef. Baruch Gozer U'Mekayem. Baruch Merachem al haaretz. Baruch Merachem al habriyot. Baruch Meshalem Zaharto V'Reach. Baruch Ha'adonai V'Kayam La'netzach. Baruch Odeh U'Matzil. Baruch Oh, yalla la yalla la yalla la yalla la 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 la
Please be seated. We continue in the middle of page 134. 134. Sadiq Hatamar Yifra.
Sadiq Hatamar Yifra. Yashar Adonai to Ribelo Allah
We continue on page 141. I hope that you are seated at this point. 141. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. When a big road show. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So hallelujah. 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 It's your turn. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. We sing this song every single morning. We ask God to give us strength, for each other to give us strength. It's the song that the Israelites sang as they crossed the Red Sea. Page 143. We mentioned last night that we really don't want this to feel like a performance, that you're watching something. We're hoping that you really take to heart what the Talmud says, and the Talmud says that real prayer exists when you put your heart in your hands. And so what I take that to mean, is that don't just watch us, but really try to pray with us. You give us strength, and we know that you're praying as if you're sitting here and standing here in Cone Chapel, one community all over the world connected through prayer. Put your hand in your heart, join with us and sing with us as we begin with Shochanad, page 147. Shochanad marom v'kadosh shemo.
Marom v'kadosh shemo.
V'tisharim titalam v'divrei tzadikim titbarak v'sham chasidim tikromam v'terech v'nashim titgadash v'makalot v'gedol amcha beit Yisrael. Lehodol, lehalel, leshabech, lefael, leromem, lehader, levarech, lehalel, leklales, al kol divrei shirot v'tishbechot, Rabbi Ben Ishai, Abdecha Meshichecha.
Yishabach Shimcha La'ad Mokeinu.
Berachon me'odahot, me'ata be'ad olam, Baruch atah Adonai. El melech gadol batishmachot, el ha'odahot, gadol ha'niflaot, haboker b'shirei Dirav, melech elkei ha'olamim.
Please rise, middle of page 148, Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikadal yikadash shemei rabba.
Amen.
V'divrach yirtei v'yamlich mahutei b'chayeichon v'yom beichon chayei tefo beit Yisrael. Ha'agala u'bizman yarim v'yimeru amen. Yesh le'rabba mevorach le'olam olam ve'yomaya Yivarach. Barachni Shabbat Mivar Midrama Ve'yinaseh Ve'yitadar Ve'yitaleh Ve'yitalal Shemei Dekudesha Berechu Ye'ela Mikol Birchata V'shirata Tishtechata V'nechemata Gavirat Ve'amah Ve'imeru
Baruch is found on page 149.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Borach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Yotzer or u'borei choshech osei shalom. U'borei et hakol.
Please be seated. We continue on page 150, middle of the page.
Eker kecha Adonai Eloheinu ba'olam hazeh v'ein zulatcha malkeinu b'chayei ha'olam haba efes bilcha gorleinu l'mot hamashiach ein dome lecha Moshienu v'kiyat hametim
Eladon, page 151.
El Adon HaKol HaMaseh Baruch U'Baruch V'Tikon Neshama Kolo V'Tubo Alei Olam Da'at U'Donai Sodedinoto HaMikael Chayot HaKodesh V'Netar V'Chavod Al HaMerkava U'Mishor V'Yimei Mitzvot V'Etzem V'Rachamim V'Yimei V'Rodom Tzoli Ve'Orot Shemara Eloheinu Yetzaram V'Dar V'Bina U'Mazber U'Pura U'Pura Natan Ba'Den V'Yod Moshe V'Keret Te'el V'Lei Tzim V'Pikei V'Toga V'Ezim V'Chol HaOlam V'Zeh V'Tzita V'Sasi V'Olam Osi V'Ein Ha'Retzon V'Olam V'Yer V'Chamod Nodim L'Ishmot Tzava V'Rina V'Zemer Makuto V'Hara L'Shemen V'Yisrach Ora V'Yitik Surat Havana Shema Yodimo Kol Tzeva Ma'aro V'Dim V'Renu Kedulah Seraphim V'Yofanim V'Chayot HaKodesh Shabbat
We continue on page 153.
Baruch Sereinu Elokeinu v'Go'aleinu Baruch Kadosh Mishpach Kulam Ohavim, Kulam Berurihim, Kulam Giborim, V'Kulam Osim Be'ema Ovir HaRetzon Konam, V'Kulam Potchim B'hem B'Kedusha V'Torah, V'Shrav Zimram V'Archim V'Meshabachim Parim Haritzim, V'Magdishim V'Maglichim, Et Shema El HaMelech HaGadol HaGibor HaNorah HaKadosh Hu. וכולם מקבלים עליהם עוד מלכות שמיים זה מזה, ונותנים רשות זה לזה להקדיש עוד שם הנחת רוח, בשפה ורבנים הקדושה. כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ויהי קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלוך הארץ כבודו. ויופעים חיל הקודש ברעש גדול מנסים לעומת רבים לעומת המשבחים ואומרים ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
Last two lines in Hebrew at the bottom of page 153 for Kaddish al Tzion Tair.
Or Kaddish al Tzion Tair Nizker Kolanu Be'era Le'oro. Kaddish al Tzion Tair Nizker Kolanu Be'era Le'oro. Baruch Adonai
We continue silently on page 154. 154 as we gather our tzitzit in preparation for the Shema.
V'avienu l'shalom, l'shalom, l'shalom. V'avienu l'shalom, be'avan kol ha'aretz. Yalai lai lai lai, yalai lai 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 lai, yalai lai 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 lai. הבוחר במו ישראל באהבה.
Page 155, Shema.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Ve'ata et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levanecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha v'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech u'v'shotvecha u'kumecha Utartam leot ayadecha v'hayu l'tetafot b'neinecha u'chatam u'mezuzot beitecha u'b'yisharecha. Continue with the next two paragraphs of the Shema on our own, page 156. Leman tizkeru v'asitem ekol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem
Adonai Elohechem.
Page 157. לדור ודור קיים ושמו קיים וחיסון אחון ומלכותו ומנעתו לעד קיימת. הודינו מצילנו מעולם שמך אין אלוהים זולתך. In just a moment, we'll sing Mi Chamocha together. We're found in the middle of page 158. And often we ask the question, who will make us free? When we feel like an enslaved people, which we feel right now, quarantined to our homes, when we feel as if we are not permitted to move, we often ask the question, well, who's going to release us? And I love this line. Martin Buber, the philosopher explains that redemption comes when we're willing to look at our souls and look within and find the flaws that need to be repaired, meaning that freedom and redemption begins with us. And so for today, or at least during this prayer, look inward. What kinds of flaws and broken pieces of our souls need mending? Be willing to engage in some repair, because as each soul around the world engages in this kind of tikkun, perhaps redemption will come. 158.
Shira Chadasha, Shigefu Geruli, Leshimcha, Zevadayan, Yachad Kulam Hodu, Vehimlifu Ve'amru.
Please rise.
Adonai Imloch Le'olam Va'ad.
Bottom of page 158, Sur Yisrael.
Sur Israel, Umari Ezrat Israel, Uvdei Mecha Yehuda Israel, Go Aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo, Yedos Israel Baruch Adonai Israel.
The Shabbat morning Amidah is found on page 159.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chazanim Tovim, Ekonei Hakol, Vesofer Chasei Hakol, Umei Goel, Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham Uvokei Tzara Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai V'chayim V'timata Rav Hoshia Mashiva Ruach U'Morin Ad Hashem Mechakel Chayim V'Chesed Mechayim Beitzim V'Rachmanim Tovim Tzomem Omdim V'Rafeh Chodim U'Matir Atzuvim Mekayem Atov B'nei Abba Michamocha B'Giburo U'Midom Elav V'Nido Mekayem U'Matzmiach Yishimcha V'Nemanata L'Chayom U'Metim Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei Hametim.
Kaddish is found on page 161. 161.
Kaddish Shimcha ba'olam Kishem ha'gishim Oto b'shmei marom Kakatu Na'aliyat nevi'echa Kakatu Na'aliyat nevi'echa Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Melech Haoretz Kevado. אז בכל רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משפיעים בו, מנסים ליומצרתי, ליומתה ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני במקומו. במקומך מלכנו, מלכנו תופיע, תמלוך עלינו, כי אנחנו בה. מתי תמלוך, תמלוך בציון, בקרוב בימינו, לעולם מועד תשכון. תתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור, לנצח נצחים. תרנה מלכותך, בשירי עוזך, תרנה מלכותך, בשירי עוזך, על ידי דוד, על ידי David, al yedei David, Messiah. Now your turn at home. Here we go. Al yedei David, al yedei David, al yedei David, Messiah titecha. Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Yitzion, le'dor v'dor. Hallelujah. Dor vador, dor vador, nagin gadol. Dor vador, nagin gadol. Ulenetzach netzachim, kedushacha nagin. V'shitach Eloheinu, lo yamush le'olam va'ed. Dor vador, nagin gadol. Dor vador, nagin gadol. Yom melech gadol, kadosh
We remain standing for the continuation of the silent Amidah. We're found on page 162, and our prayers continue through page 166. Please take this time to either read the words in English of the Siddur, the words in Hebrew, or reflect on the prayers of your heart. We're just deciding what we want to do.
You can also write in which Osei Shalom you would like for the end of the service.
The end of the service.
Please join us, a song of peace. Osei Shalom B'Roma, Osei Shalom Aleinu. Osei Shalom B'Roma, Osei Shalom Aleinu. Ose shalom b'kroma, Yaseh shalom aleinu, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'achol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'achol Yisrael. Shalom b'kroma, Yaseh shalom aleinu. Shalom b'kroma, Yaseh shalom aleinu. Shalom b'kroma, Yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'achol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'achol Yisrael.
You may be seated. Kaddish Shalem, page 167.
Yibkadavi Gadasha May Rabba, Ramadi Rafi, the only one for the Vahai Mali, the Vahai of Hadis, Rabba, Makari, Imeru, Amen. Yes, May Rabba, Nevara, the Olam Alame, Amaya, Yibara, Shabbat, Garden, and Save, the Dark Left, the Losh made a Kudesha. Elam Nikabrakadam Shirata, Shabbat Nakamata, Ram, the Mavi, Imeru. The Gabatso, Tanut on the place, Raga, the Londish by the Imeru, Yeslam, Shema, Yabachim, Lady Malkois, Rabbi Imeru. Say shalom to Ramav, Huya say shalom, Aleinu Yalkal Yisrael v'Imeru. Amen.
Seder Kriyat HaTorah, the service for the taking out and reading of our Sefer Torah, begins on page 168. 168. I'm going to ask everyone to please rise now. 168.
Elohim Adonai, Ve'en kema'asecha, Malchutecha malchut kol olamim, U'memshaltecha b'chol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai lo, Leolam va'ed, Adonai oz le'amo yitei, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. Amarachamim, Eviva Birtzoncha Ezion, Tivei Komod Yerushalayim, Tivei Komod Yerushalayim. Uba Adonai, Yahutzu Oivecha, Yanusu Sanecha Mipanecha, Ki Mitzion Eitzei Torah, Ki Mitzion Eitzei Torah, Udevar Adonai, Yerushalayim. Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan Torah, Torah, Ve'amo Yisrael, B'Kedushato.
Ribono Shel Olam, Master of the Universe, teach us how to disconnect from gossip, from stress, from fear, to disconnect from that which places a barrier between you and us. Dear God, teach us how to connect to our loved ones when they feel so very far away, how to connect with our community, to the sanctuary of prayer, connect to Shabbat, and to connect with you. May we find peace in abandoning that which inhibits our spirit. And dear God, let us find serenity in embracing that which is essential to our souls. And let us say as a community, Amen.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Adonai, Romema Shemo Yachdav. Lecha Adonai Yagedu, Lave Yagedu, Rave HaTiferet, Ikovo Vashamayim U'Ba'aretz, Ikovo Vashamayim U'Ba'aretz. Adonai Amaramakat, Ve'amina Zeilecho Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ishtachavu, Adon Radlav Kadosh, Romemu, Adonai Eloheinu, Ve'ishtachavu
Okay, everyone, just give us a few moments as we set up for our Torah reading. That's where the Torah is. Here, I'm going to give Rabbi Sherman the Torah. Okay. Okay.
Take a breather. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
This will be YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. There we go. We can see everybody. Just a word of Torah as we begin the third book of the Torah, Vayikra, which means, and God called to Moshe. But really, it's called also Torah Kohanim. It means the Torah of the priests. It means the Torah of the Kohanim in the temple because it details week after week sacrifices, which, to be honest, seem not so relevant to our lives. But I think in today's world, the word sacrifice actually means a little more something than it did 2 weeks ago. But I want to share with you what a sacrifice actually is, and the sacrifice is simply a ritual. Because we know that we have so many rituals in our own lives, rituals that we continue to do during this time of isolation, but also rituals that we don't do, schedules that have been changed, not voluntarily, but rather forced. And I want to share with you a teaching of Rabbi Akiva, who explains what rituals all are about. He says, Mesorah Sayag la Torah, that tradition, that Jewish ritual, is all about creating a fence around the Torah. It guards our Torah. But the rabbis say, no, it's not a fence. Because a fence in Hebrew is a gader. A fence actually keeps things out. Why do you put a fence around your pool? To keep children away. Why do you put a fence around your house? To keep strangers away. But siyag, why do you put a siyag there? A siyag is not a fence, but rather it's a enclosement that keeps in. That keeps it in, but rather doesn't push things out. That is what the Torah does. A fence around the Torah brings the Torah closer to you. Rituals that we do. The reason that hundreds of people are signed in right now to all different types of social media is because we want to bring us closer together, not because we want to keep them out. And so as you read the portion of Vayikra and for the weeks following these different sacrifices, think about the rituals in your own life that you do not to keep people away, but rather to bring them together. And think about how you perhaps can change those rituals slightly so we continue to have that same purpose of bringing us together. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yasher Koach.
Baruch tiyeh. Baruch tihi.
Good enough. Okay. Okay, everyone. This is where you have to help. We're hoping that you will join in the Torah brachot and the aliyah. Rabbi Sherman will read one aliyah, and we'll join in the blessings together. I'm going to try to hold up the blessings. I'm trying to figure out which camera I should hold them up to. But if I hold it like, I don't know if you can zoom in or not.
We're going to do on YouTube.
I think we're going to do it on YouTube because you can also go on to youtube.com/Sinai Temple Presents. But by the way, the Torah blessings are also found in your Siddur. Good. Page 172. For those of you who are following along in your Siddur, you can follow along on page 172. And I'm going to, Ready, everyone? I'm close. Sorry, getting closer. Baruch et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Vayikra el Moshe vaydaber Adonai elahav me'ohel moed lemor dahaber al bnei Yisrael v'marta lehem Adam yakri mikem korban Adonai mina behema mina bakar mina tzon takri ve'korban chen imola korbano min habakar zachar tamim yakri venu el petach moed yakri voto Yirtzon lifnei Adonai v'samach yado al rosh ha'olav v'nirtzalo l'chaper alahav V'shachad ben habakar lifnei Adonai v'ikrivo b'nei Aaron hakohanim et Adam zarku Adam l'mizbeach saviv asher petach l'moed v'pshit et ha'olav v'nitach l'talit ha'chehat v'nadu b'nei Aaron hakohen eish ha'mizbeach v'arku etzim al ha'eish v'arku b'nei Aaron hakohanim et ha'tanchim et harosh v'et ha'pader Al-Eitzim asher al-Eish asher al-Mizbeach v'kirbo v'rabirchat hamayim v'kir hakohen kol hamizbeach ha'olah isher ha'nifach l'Adonai v'minatzon korbano minakvasim v'minazim le'olah zachar tamim yakri venu v'shachato yerech hamizbeach tzapon alifnei Adonai v'zarku b'nei Aaron hakohanim et ha'am al-Mizbeach saviv v'tachotav l'intachav et rosho v'et pidro V'yarach hakohen otam al ha'etzim asher al ha'eish asher al ha'mizbeach yakrev akarayim yirchas b'mayim v'ikir hakohen et hakol v'ikir ha'mizbecha olahu yisherach michoach la'Adonai.
Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu Baruch ata Adonai noten haTorah. So while the Torah is out, we are going to recite and sing together a Misha Berach L'Cholim. I'm going to come back around here so you can see all 3 cameras. Please join us in our prayer of healing together.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak Yaakov Sarah Rivka Gabriel Leah Yuvaret Yerapeh Aholi El Narapanala. El
In our community, we pray for healing for Eshrat Harunian, Nahum Ben Malka, Rafalea Bat Hanafuna, Eva Kellerman, Menashe Ben Shajan Sarah, Michael Ben Tov Eliyahu, Shoshana Bat Hana Kaya Bat Ariel, Dylan Shear, Gila Neeson Bat Mazel. We pray for the healing of those who are ill, who are in hospitals, who are within nursing homes, those who are unable to have the human touch or human embrace. We pray for the mental serenity of those who are suffering from depression at this time, loneliness, frustration, and anger. Dear God, we pray that healing is at hand. We are going to lift our Sefer Torah. So I'm going to ask everyone to please rise at home, and we will sing together.
I've been practicing since last week. Okay.
I'll try to help you.
Vezot Torah Asher
I think
Livnei Bnei Yisrael Adonai Torah,
Torah, Torah, Torah, Torah, Torah. Tzivanu Moshe, Torah, 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 Torah.
Tzivanu Moshe, Torah, Torah,
Torah, Torah,
Torah, Tzivanu Moshe, Torah, 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 Tzivanu Moshe. Keep
We very much appreciate all of our rabbis at Sinai Temple who help us with the coordination of our services.
That's for you, Evie.
And Michael Nazarian.
And Mansour Slamboli.
Thank you.
We're lost.
Okay, here we go. How'd I do? Okay, everybody. I'm telling you, dressing the Torah is the hardest part of the service. So we thank all of you who take on that honor in our B'nai Mitzvah. Am I holding it?
Yep.
Okay, fine. Hopefully everyone is still standing. We're found on page 183. Hallelujah, Shem Adonai, Ki Nitzkav Shemo Levado, Odo Aleret, Shetamai, Hayarem Kerem Le'amo, Tehila Le'o Chazina,
Livnei Israel Kirova. Hallelujah, Hallelujah. David. Abu Adonai b'nei Abu Adonai Abu Adonai Koshimo Shach Abu Adonai be'Hagazodei Adonai Lamayim l'Kabod Yirim Adonai Amayim Rabim Kol Adonai Ba'Kol Adonai be'Adar Kol Adonai Shomer HaRakim Vayishamir Adonai et Arzei Ha'ad Vayarkim Koel Banu B'Sirion Kemo Ben Rahimim Kol Adonai, Chotze Chamotesh, Kol Adonai, Yachil Mimar, Yachil Adonai, Mimar Kadesh, Kol Adonai, Kol Adonai, Chesov Yarot Vehechalo, Kulom Merkavon, Adonai Mamamuya, Shabayesh, Adonai, Melech Olam, Adonai, Olam, Adonai, Marek Etamo, Shalom, Chayom. Ilekato, Kati Lachem, Torati, Abdajo, Eis Hayini, Machazikima, Betompe, Berusa, Berachema, Rahatino, Befoketimoteha, Shalom, Ashireinu Adonai, Lechavna Shuva, Kaddish Yameinu,
We're going to turn back in our service to page 177. Page 177. Please join with me in the first paragraph in English for a prayer for our country. Page 177. Our God and God of our ancestors, with mercy accept our prayer on behalf of our country and its government. Pour out your blessing upon this land, upon its inhabitants, upon its leaders, its judges, officers, and officials, who faithfully devote themselves to the needs of the public. Help them understand the rules of justice you have decreed, so that peace and security, happiness and freedom will never depart from our land.
Amen.
A prayer for the state of Israel. Please join with us. Avinu Shabbat Shemayim, page 178.
Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'go'alo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'go'alo.
Avinu Shabbat Shemayim, stronghold and redeemer of the people Israel. Bless the state of Israel, that it may be the beginning of our redemption. Shield it with your love. Spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them. Crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace and its inhabitants with lasting joy. And let us say, Amen.
Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'go'alo. Avinu, Avinu, Sheba Shamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'go'alo.
Just a quick message this morning. There's a story that's told by Rabbi Hugo Grin. And Rabbi Hugo Grin tells a story about the time in which he and his father were in Auschwitz together, actually sharing a barrack, enduring the greatest atrocity that this world has faced, experiencing the Holocaust within Auschwitz. And what Rabbi Grin explains is that sometimes the inmates would try to, as Rabbi Sherman was explaining, continue rituals in order to have some kind of semblance of life and some kind of connection to our faith. And they remembered in the darkness of winter that it must be Hanukkah. And so they knew that they had to light the Hanukkah menorah, but they wondered how they were going to do it. And so Hugo's father actually was able to find a piece of scrap metal, and he somehow manufactured some kind of Hanukkah out of this metal. And for a wick, he took threads from his uniform, and that's what he decided to use as a wick. But you need oil. And so somehow his father was able to procure some butter that had come on some old stale pieces of bread. And he was able to use that butter for the oil in order to produce a flame for the Hanukkah. Now, Hugo could understand using the scrap metal. He could even understand using the threads on his uniform for the wick. But when he saw that his father was about to waste precious calories, precious fat and nourishment that they could use within those barracks to sustain them, Hugo was outraged, and he asked his father, is this really worth it? And this is what his father said. He said, Hugo, you know, you can go days without food, and a person can live for a very long time. But Hugo, I have to tell you, and listen closely, a person cannot live a single day without hope. This, and he holds the Hanukkah in his hand, this is the fire of hope. Never let it go out. Not here, not anywhere. Remember that, Hugo. Remember that. The fire of hope. And I think that message, that idea, the phrasing of the fire of hope rings so true to each and every one right at this very moment. Because we're already weeks into this quarantine and we're wondering, how can we muster the strength to step into another day? Because that's what hope is. It's gaining the courage to walk into another tomorrow. So how do you increase and start those sparks and flames of hope? I think it's two different ways. One is that we remember that there were thousands upon thousands of people who were able to gain the courage to step into a brand new day so that we could be here at this very moment. And we have a responsibility and an opportunity and a gift to continue that legacy. That's number one. That feeds the flames of hope. But number two, what feeds the flames of hope is recognizing and being able to recall the gifts and blessings we are given right at this very moment. Even when we feel in our deepest, darkest distress that there's nothing around us, it's the opposite. It's doing what Hugo's father did and realizing that we have a chance to produce a spark, a flame right now by recalling our blessings. Now, I can just say that, but our Jewish tradition teaches us that. In which way? Passover is right around the corner. And we sing a particular prayer that reminds us of our blessings. Dayenu. Now, when you hear the word Dayenu, usually you think of the word die, which means enough. Where God died, this is enough. Dayenu, it's enough. We don't want this here anymore. But that's not the context of Dayenu. If you actually look at the verses in the Haggadah, Dayenu is a prayer of gratitude and a prayer of thanks. Listen to the verses. Dear God, if you had given us the manna in the desert, Dayenu, not it's enough, it would have been enough. Thank you, God, for that. God, if you had given us Shabbat, Dayenu, it would have been enough. Thank you, God, for Shabbat. God, if you had given us the Torah, even that would have been enough. Thank you, God. But God, you took us out of Egypt and brought us into the promised land. Dayenu, that would have been enough. And so I'm going to ask you to fan the flames of hope this morning by interpreting Dayenu in a different way. Add your own verses. This morning, Rabbi Sherman and I say to each other, Dear God, thank you for the health of our family. Dayenu, that would be enough. Dear God, thank you for this beautiful community that is connected near and far. Dayenu, that would be enough. Dear God, thank you for the ability to wake up every morning and sing your praise. Dayenu, that would be enough. How do you fan the flames of hope? How do you hold the fire of hope in your hands? Recall that thousands and thousands and thousands of people have stood before you, recalling their blessings so that you would be here today. And now it's our obligation and our privilege to stand here this morning and say to ourselves, Dainu, all of this, God, thank you. It's more than enough. Shabbat Shalom. Kaddish. We're going to move right into Musaf, Kaddish, page 184.
Yamadi Brahir Teviam de Mahute Mechayekon Yomekon Upaye de Tove Israel Mitzmagari Nimeru
Amen.
Yesh Me Rabba Mevora Leolama Leomaya Yibara Yishraba Yibamar Mitroma Yinase Yidadar Yidadar Samiri Buddha Shabarifu Yelami Kobri Hatava Shirata Tus Remadavene Madana Mirabeyama Minaru Amen.
The Musaf Amidah is found on page 185. 185.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei El Hagadol HaGibor HaNorah, El Elyon, Yom HaSadim Tovim, Lefonei HaKol, Yesofer Chasei Avot, V'Digo V'Digo V'Machimo V'Yava, Melech Odem V'Chokeinu Moshiach Baruch atah Adonai Malin Avraham V'Chokeinu Sarah Adagi Borel Adonai Mechaye Medim Hakol Rabbe Hoshia Mashivaru Achamomin Hadashem Mechakel Chayim Bechesed Mechaye Medim Berachamim Rabim Somen Tovim Berachamim Yomadir Azim Umekaye Medim
Kaddish is found on page 187.
Naritza Benad Mishraha Kesavot Ziam Sartei Kodesh Ahamadi Shim Shim Hamavat Kodesh Kakatu Bayat Leviacha Vekara Zel Zel Vekara Zel Zel Amar Kadosh, 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 Adonai Zebaoth, Kevodo Malei Olam, Mehishartav Shoali, Mehishartav Shoali, Om Yevodam, Adonai Komo. Oifem berachamim, Oifem berachamim, Oifem berachamim. Yachona, Am Yachadim Shemo, Am Yachadim Shemo. Ereka b'boker b'echol yom tamid ha'chayim ha'achad shema omrim yai lai lai yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai lai. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Eloheinu, Avinu, Umakeinu, Moshienu, Yashmienu, Berachamacheinu, Le'enei Kovai, V'yolachem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohim, V'kotzim ha'adu V'yom, Yimloch Adonai V'yadai, Elohai V'yom, Dor Vador Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Door by door, door by door, door by door,
Please take this time for your silent prayer, beginning on page 188, continuing through page 192. Please take your time. B is found on page 202. 202. Yitbarach v'yishtach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnatzeh v'yithadar v'yitala v'yitala shemir kudesha le'elam yipol berchata v'shirata t'ushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'ama v'imeru tika ba'al t'lohon ba'hon de'kol Yisrael kodama ba'hon v'yishmaya v'imeru ye'ei shamara v'yishmaya v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imeru osei shalom b'rama v'yasei shalom Aleinu ve'ko Israel ve'imeru. Amen. We rise for Aleinu, page 205. 205. Aleinu l'shabeach Adon, Aleinu l'aliyah celebration. Shavua Sanu Divoyeh HaRatzon, Elo Samanu Mishpechot Adama, Shelo Samanu Kahem, Elo Haraleinu Kechol Morim, Umishtachalim Umolim, Lifnei Kalem, Avei HaMlavim, Kadosh Baruch Hu. Shakatu b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar v'hayam Adonai, v'ne'echa kol ha'aretz. Vayom v'yeh Adonai Eloheinu. Shema, Shema, Shema. We recall with affection those who no longer walk this earth, grateful to God for the gift of their lives, for their sweet companionship, and for their cherished memories which endure. May God comfort all who mourn. This week we recall the passing of Mendel Vittergass, husband of Faye Vittergass of blessed memory, father of Mark Vittergass, Anthony Vittergass, Bettina Brenner, and Paulette Cam, grandfather of 9 and great-grandfather of 1. We also recall the passing of Jerome Hackman, father of Michael Hackman. The Yortzeids will be observed during this coming week at Sinai Temple. Dennis Abramson, Irving Ashkenaz, Evelyn Axelrod, George Banafsheha, Sarah Barnett, Abraham Barnett, Marilyn Bellings, Selma Burke, Barbara Bizarre, Betty Blonstein, Annabelle Boren. Rose Brenner, Ruth Brunner, Neil Butler, Susanna Cohen, Nathan Cohen, Robert Kushner, Emil Danielpour, Thelma Danoff. Harry Edelson, Monir Faradi, Mansour Farouzbaksh, Abraham Fisk, Harry Fox, Leonard Freeman, Rose Friedman, Erwin Fries, Solomon Gabay, Albert Geiderman, Sam Gepner, Marshall Glukow, Daniel Goldberg, Barbara Goldman, Doris Jane Goldman, Irma Goldner, Heshmat Golshani, Liam Gottschalk, Sally Grush, Saeed Halavi, Alice Handberg, Lita Heller, Sadie Hendler, Aaron Herman, Clevie Heron, Nathan Horowitz, Sam Kellner, Ashraf Kabaram, John Kluss, Susanna Cohn, Shirley Kosloff, Jonas Murray Kotkis, Rose Kramer, Marilyn Kritzer, Ruben Lackow, Ann Ladon, John Loudman, Margaret Loudman, William Levitt, George Lewitsky, Saul Lieber, Milton Lynn, Anna Lisser, Ruth Latovsky, Sidney Lumet, Edward Lyons, Harry Meislish, Yetta Marcus, Musa Median, Gertrude Merritt, Norman Merman, Behayen Neiman, William Netter, Nitzan Niman, Brad Nitkin, Tia Palermo Ravage, Clara Perez, P. Lillian Posen, Kenneth Powell, Senubar Rabban, Sarah Lee Reven, Fanny Roth, Dennis Salkin, Jeanette Schwartz, Tilly Schwartz, Betty Seifert, Etta Seltzer, Maurice Silton, Z. Simento, B. Smotrich, Sylvia Steele, Pauline Towell, Aghajun Toban, Esther Twilke,
Adrienne Van Zandt Bell, George Wagman, Joseph Wagner, Irving Weber, Harry Weiss, Henry Weisfeld, Harriet White, Paulette Whitman, Max Wollins, Jean Zlotnick, Mary Jane Zukin. We ask those in mourning or observing a yortzeit to please rise, page 207. The words of the mourner's Kaddish, page 207. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divara chirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chaye dechol beit Yisrael, v'agala u'bizman kari v'yimaru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lomei amayah. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu le'ela minchol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiram v'yalma v'yimaru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. Osei shalom b'mramav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. May God who brings peace unto heaven bring peace unto all those who mourn. And let us all say, Amen.
A few very quick announcements. In about 5 to 6 minutes, Rabbi Wolfe will be delivering his Shabbat morning sermon. So please, even if there is like a 30-minute delay in between, please stay online.
YouTube.
On YouTube, stay online again. YouTube.com/Sinai Temple Presents to listen to Rabbi Wolfe's sermon.
He can hear us. He's watching.
We bring you greetings from our Sinai Temple President, Jamie Berman, and the entire board of directors of Sinai Temple, who wish you a sweet, healthy, peaceful Shabbat Shalom. We also bring you greetings from the entire clergy and from our staff. We miss you, and we're so happy that we get to connect with you this way. Just a brief request. I've been putting out what's called Chesed announcements, asking our Sinai Temple community in particular to make phone calls and reach out to one another so that every single member, every single person at Sinai Temple gets a phone call or a Shabbat greeting. If you're willing to be one of those Chesed ambassadors to make sure that our entire community feels connected, send me a note after Shabbat. Okay, I would really appreciate it if you decided to step up now. We're trying to get at least 180 ambassadors. We have about 60. We need you to step up. That's how we fan the flames of hope when we choose to be a community together. Oh, it's also anniversary Shabbat, everyone. I don't even know what month it is. Is it March? It's March.
The last weekend of March.
It's the last weekend in March, which also, so we celebrate anniversaries. It's also my father's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. I'm sorry we can't celebrate with you today, but God willing, very, very soon. It's my sister-in-law Tobi's birthday. Orly, happy birthday. Our friend Logan's birthday. Also Allison Rosenthal, I believe it's your birthday today. I'm sorry if I'm missing anyone else, but for all of the birthdays and anniversaries, we sing Shehecheyanu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'nehiyanu b'zman hazeh.
It was Rebecca Small's birthday yesterday, by the way. Wish her a happy birthday as well. Okay, Adon Olam, we conclude our service, page 211. 211.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, V'reit Nasa, V'chefza kol Hazayin Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'yacharei Kiplot HaKol, Le'adon Yimlach Nora Adon Olam, V'hu Hayam, V'hu Ha'omer. Asher Malach, B'terem kol Yitzir Nivra, V'reit Nasa, V'chefza kol Hazayin Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, V'hu echad v'ein sheni, Lehamshelo v'hachbira Adon Olam, V'li reishi, v'li tachlit, V'lo ha'od le'am Yisrael Adon Asher Malah,
the terrible,
I don't know. I don't the fastest Kaddish you've ever heard.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
Amen. Take a sip. I'll do this. Wash our hands. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu v'tzitav v'tzivanu al netilat yadayim.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Amen.
Ribbono shel olam, Master of the universe, grant each and every one of us the serenity and calm that we seek. Dear God, make this a blessed, peaceful Shabbat, and let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom. Stay on, please, as Rabbi Wolfie continues with his Shabbat sermon. Shabbat shalom from us.
If you're on Facebook, you can turn to youtube.com/SinaiTemplePresents.